You're traveling through another dimension, a dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land of imagination. Next stop, the Hole of the Rabbit.
With his 6-chambered Colt's revolver. 9 stitches were put in some of the cuts by Dr. Hastings, and when Wild Wright and my mother came, they could trace us across the street by the blood in the dust, and which spoiled the luster of the paint on the gate post of the barracks. Hall sent for more police and Dr. Hastings next morning. I was handcuffed, a rope tied from him to my legs and to the seat of the cart and taken to Wangaratta Hall. He was frightened I would throw him out of the cart, so he tied me whilst Constable Arthur laughed at his cowardice, for it was he who escorted me and Hall to Wangaratta. I was tried and committed as Hall swore I claimed the mare. The doctor died or he would have proved Hall a perjurer. Hall has been tried several times for perjury but got clear. As this is no crime in the police force, it is a credit to a policeman to convict an innocent man, but any muff can pot a guilty one. Hall's character is well known about El Dorado and Snowy Creek, and Hall was considerably in debt to Mr. L. O'Brien, and as he was going to leave Greta, Mr. O'Brien seen no other chance of getting his money. So there was a subscription collected for Hall, and with the aid of this money he got James Murdoch, who was recently hung in Wagga Wagga, to give false evidence against me. But I was acquitted on the charge of horse stealing and on Hall and Murdoch's evidence. I was found guilty of receiving and got 3 years' experience in Beechworth Pentridge's dungeons. This is the only charge ever proved against me. Therefore I can say I never was convicted of horse or cattle stealing. My brother Dan was never charged with assaulting a woman, but he was sentenced to 3 months without the option of a fine and 1 month and £2 fine for damaging property by Mr. Butler PM, a sentence that there is no law to uphold. Therefore the Minister of Justice neglected his duty in that case, but there never was such a thing as justice in the English laws. But any amount of injustice to be had. Out of over 30 head of the very best horses the land could produce, I could only find one when I got my liberty. Constable Flood stole and sold the most of them to the navvies on the railway line. One bay cob he stole and sold 4 different times. The line was completed and the men all gone when I came out, and Flood was shifted to Oxley. He carried on the same game. They're all the stray horses that was any time without an owner and not in the Police Gazette, Flood used to claim. He was doing a good trade at Oxley until Mr. Brown of the Laceby station got him shifted, as he was always running his horses about. Flood is different to Sergeant Steele. Strachan Hall and the most of police, as they have to hire cads, and if they fail the police are quite helpless, but Flood can make a check single-handed. He is the greatest horse stealer, with the exception of myself and George King, I know of. I never worked on a farm. A horse and saddle was never traced to me after leaving employment since February 1873. I worked as a faller at Mr. J. Saunders and K. Rule's sawmills, then for Heach and Dockendorf. I never worked for less than £2.10 a week since I left Pentridge, and in 1875 or 1876 I was overseer for Saunders and Rules, Borks Waterholes Sawmills in Victoria. Since then I was on the King River during my stay. There I ran in a wild bull which I gave to Lidicher, a farmer.